Hi, this is Gary with MACMOST.com. Let me show you how to create QR codes using shortcuts on your Mac. MACMOST is brought to you thanks to a great group of more than 1,000 supporters. Go to MACMOST.com/Patreon. There you could read more about the Patreon campaign, join us, and get exclusive content and course discounts. So of course we all know what QR codes now. The last few years have taught us that. There's little digital images that you could see at various places, like in restaurants when you could get the menu by pointing your iPhone's camera at the QR code. You could easily create your own QR codes for any website or web page that you have. So if you have a business website or a personal blog or anything like that, you can create a QR code for it. Even the address to a Twitter or Instagram account can be turned into a QR code. Anything you can bring up in the Safari web browser can be made into a code, and you could do that with the Shortcuts app. Let's create a new shortcut here, and we're going to search right away for QR right there, and generate QR code comes up. So how do you use this? Well, generate QR code from text will turn any text like ABC into a code. Just run, and this is the code for ABC. Now that doesn't help much. What you need is a URL. So you could type in a URL like this and run it, and that's the QR code with that text in it. If you point a camera at that code, it's going to come up, and clicking on it will take you to that web page. So already this is pretty useful. What would be better is if it actually made a QR code for the web page you are currently viewing. So for instance, if I'm in Safari like this, it would be great to be able to create a QR code for this page. And then I can go to any page I want and quickly create a QR code for that one and then use it somewhere. Use it in something I'm going to print or email or whatever. So let's start off by searching for something that will get the web page location. Now what we can do here is get the current web page from Safari. Now you could also set this up as a quick action or service to use in Safari, or when you've selected a URL, to turn that into a QR code. But I find it's a lot easier if you just go with whatever the frontmost page is in Safari, whatever the URL is that's showing there. That way you could bring up the page in Safari and use this from the menu bar, having it pinned in the menu bar, or any other way, even in the Shortcuts app. It just will get that current page in Safari and use that. So now let's get rid of this right here, and I'm going to control click on it, insert variable, select the variable, select this. So now it's going to get the current web page from Safari, and it's going to feed that in to generate QR code from. Now let's give it a name and also someplace to output to, because we're not always going to be running it here in the Shortcuts app. So if I search for quick, I get quick look, and now the output will actually go to quick look. So now when I run it here, you can see it appears there in quick look. I could do various things with it using the share menu. Let's see how this looks in Safari. Let's go to another page here like this one, and let's say I want to use it here. I can click there. Since I said pin to menu bar, there it is. It's going to output the result to quick look, and there is that, and I could share it using this menu here. I can also open and preview, and then I can simply Command C to copy. With it copied, I could do something really easy, like for instance if I'm making a flyer in Pages, I could just Command V to paste it in and resize and add a QR code to a flyer. Another way to go is, instead of using quick look, you can just search for Clipboard and copy to Clipboard. So now all it's going to do is get the current web page, it's going to generate the QR code, and then it's going to copy it to the clipboard. Then when I do that, it runs, it's copied to the clipboard right away. So now in Pages I can paste it in there. So if your main goal is just getting it to the clipboard quickly so you can use it in documents, then you may want to go with something really simple like this. Now let's say I want to save this as an image file instead of having to do something with it right away. Well, what I could do here is just use the save command, save, and then save file, and it will save QR code. Show more will show me, ask where to save. Let's turn that off, and instead it'll save it, and I click here to replace the Shortcuts folder with something else, like say the desktop. And now it's going to save it to the desktop. And now let's get rid of this quick look here, and now I run it. The first time it's going to ask me to give permission, and now you can see here I've got it on the desktop. It has a very generic file name, So let's fix that with a rename and rename file to what? Well, let's go ahead and get the details of the web page. So I'll look for details, and you can get the details of a Safari web page. Let's go and put that right up here. Get page content. That's not what we want. What we want is the name of the page. That would be handy to rename the file. So I'll click here, control click on it actually, select variable, use the name there. Now when I run, you can see how it takes the name of the page and uses that as the name for the file. So if I were to go somewhere else and then create QR code, it runs and you see I get the name of this page. And I can generate it for any pages I want. And you can see how it creates one for each. So you could easily, instead of setting this to the desktop, set it to a special folder and then fill it up with the QR codes you need, and you know where each one goes because they're named properly. And now you can use them in all sorts of documents to make it easier for people to grab a URL and get to a page using their phone. Hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching.
If you liked this video, click the thumbs up button below to let me know. I publish new tutorials each weekday. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out.